you can't bet everybody, obviously, in these markets. You're just going to flush money down the toilet doing that. So you have to draw a line through some people. And now by this, that means to me that I'm not going to bet on them because I don't think they can win. And if I lose to them, fine, so be it. But I did take Purdy a couple of weeks back at 18-1 when we were talking about him a lot, and the numbers were really popping like he's number one across the board in a lot of these stats.
Good job. I couldn't get there. I'll tell you why coming up.
Okay. I'm drawing a line through Jalen Hurts.
Wow. Because of the head-to-head? And
that should be rather significant in my opinion. What Purdy did to Dak Prescott in the same game and then turn around and did to Jalen Hurts, does that not matter to voters?
Well, Hurts can atone Sunday night.
Hurts also 10 INTs on the year, 4 lost fumbles, 12th in quarterback rating, 7th in EPA per play. His numbers are just not that impressive. I know he has all the rushing touchdowns, but I'm not adding any Jalen Hurts. If he wins it, fine. I'm not adding any Tua Tagovailoa.
Now, that I agree with.
10 INTs, 4 lost. He does have good numbers. I mean, the quarterback rating, the 2nd in EPA per play. But I honestly think that will Tyreek Hill cancel off some Tua with the voters? And I honestly think, I like what Michael Lombardi was telling us yesterday. Hill is Randy Moss. He tilts the field in one direction.
Oh, he keeps DCs up at night. The DCs around the league got to wear a diaper when they're playing these guys. Hill should have better MVP odds than Tua. Hill makes all of it go. And McDaniel's a genius. But the MVP of the Dolphins is Tyreek Hill.
I would agree. I'm drawing a line through Lamar Jackson. They might get the 1 seed in the AFC. They might win 13 games. I can't get there. Now, he's only thrown 5 INTs, 6 lost fumbles. Folks, he has 13 passing touchdowns. 13? We're in week 14. You can't win an MVP if he throws, 20 touchdowns on the year?
If they run the table, they'd have to run the table.
13th in QBR, 14th in EPA per play. And I'm sorry, but Patrick Mahomes, to this point, what has to happen for him to close out as the MVP? And I would actually say it's not on him. This is on his teammates. Because Mahomes is still having a good year. He's putting the ball where it needs to be. The drops by the receivers, the timeliness of them. He also has 10 INTs, 2 lost fumbles, 22 touchdowns. He's tied for 10th in quarterback rating and 9th in EPA per play. We have a long enough sample size this year alone. Mahomes, the only reason why he is where 5th on the odds board is because of the respect for this guy. They probably don't want to take any bets on him.
Yep, totally agree.
So
and the fatigue factor, right? I mean, even Michael Jordan didn't win the MVP every year. You know, they threw the bone to Karl Malone one year as well, which was outrageous. So I'll have to agree with you on that one. Backing up a second, I couldn't get there with Purdy at the time because I really think, and hope they don't do this, but I still thought at the time they're going to hold this Mr. Irrelevant thing against him.
They still might, Paul.
They still could. I guess, okay. That'd be sick and sad. You know, it's like this Florida State thing about, I know it more than you do. Okay. But this, I hope they don't do that. But you mentioned it a couple weeks ago. What if this was Trey Lance? Be odds on to win the MVP if it was Trey Lance.
He would be.
But it's just, it's weird what people think and say about Purdy with all the weapons are so good and all this, and it could come back to bite him.
Okay, so we're going to put up 2 tweets here. And for the radio audience, we'll tell you exactly what one says, the other says to kind of trump it. This is from Steve Palazzolo from Pro Football Focus. Good observation here. Crazy stat of the weekend. The 49ers did not attempt to pass longer than 15 yards down the field, and they averaged 11.6 yards per attempt and 16.5 yards per completion. That was against the Eagles. So I think a lot of people are going to say, see, it's not Brock Purdy. It's the yak. Look at what Deebo Samuel did. He was an absolute machine, catching those balls and taking off, and nobody could. Lombardi again yesterday. How many times have we seen a guy this big who can hit that acceleration as fast as Samuel? Ever? Mm-hmm. I don't know if there's been anybody. However, this tweet trumps what people are going to look at with that other one and say, well, hold on a second here. Now you got my attention. This is from David Lombardi, who covers the 49ers. 48.6% of Brock Purdy's passing yards this year are coming from yak, yards after catch. Think about this for a second, though. That's less, as he points out, than each of the past 3 MVP winners. In 2020, Aaron Rodgers, 52.2%. The following year, Aaron Rodgers, 52.7%. And look at this. Patrick Mahomes last year, 54.3%. of the yards came from Yak. Brock Purdy, 48.6%. So I'm sorry, that's huge.
Yep.
That's got to count for something.
Well, I think a lot of voters and people might say, well, Shanahan's awesome, and you have so many talented players around you, and the roster's sick that, and America's team and Dak Prescott's hot. That could be big. And that Sunday night game is enormous for MVP. I will say this, and I agree with a lot of things you're saying. How bad have the Houston Texans been the last couple years? And now he loses Tank Dell? If they win 10, 11 games, I'll say 11. If they win 11 games and make the playoffs, C.J. Stroud has got to be in the discussion. And I say today, sitting here, 30-1 is outrageous.
What do you think it should be?
Outrageous. No higher than 10.
Yeah, I mean,
look at his numbers every single game
Paulie,
he's putting up. He's a rookie.
Yep.
He's losing offensive linemen, running backs, and star. He didn't have Schultz last week. Dell got hurt, still won the game.
The only reason I can think of why other players on that list are ahead of C.J. Stroud is because they're not rookies, and they've been in the league for a while. Again, yeah, if you want to, you're telling me that Lamar Jackson's 9-1 and C.J. Stroud is 30-1? That's laughable.
Yes.
C.J. Stroud has clearly been more valuable to the Texans this year than Lamar Jackson to the Ravens. I don't know how you argue that, but I mean, again, their win total was 6.5, and a lot of people were making the case like, "Are you kidding me?"
I did. Sure, I was one of them. It was in the guide. I go, this is easy. They're not winning 7 games.
Right.
Their defense is horrendous. It's going to take Ryan's time, and good luck with the offense. And I early on in the season, I cut him a break. He was a rookie. And he went to Baltimore, and they struggled early on. But he hasn't, other than the Tampa game, he's been good with the ball, taking care of the ball, and he's putting up video game numbers every week.
So he's averaging 295 yards passing per game. He has 20 touchdowns. The yards per game, higher than a lot of these names. 20 touchdowns, comparable to a lot of them as well. Josh Allen is in the neighborhood of C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, come on now.
Now,
come on. They fired their OC. Allen's a big reason why. More
valuable, Tua or C.J. Stroud? Now, Tua's again having he's having a nice year.
Stroud, yeah. Oh, Mike White would cook.
But I will ask you this: if Tua had Tank Dell or Nico Collins, and C.J. Stroud had Tyreek Hill, how does that look for the Texans' offense? I mean, they might.
That's a good point. Look at. I mean, you have Dell, Noah Brown, Dalton Schultz. These guys are putting up ridiculous numbers every week. Yeah. What have they done in their career?
Not much.
One guy's a rookie, and are they both? I think they're both rookies. And Schultz has been a journeyman. So it's like, I mean, the one game they all had 100 yards.
Yeah.
And then you got Singletary, who was let go, and you pick up Singletary, and he's been awesome.
By the way, Tank Dell weighs 165 pounds. He was questionable last week. He got injured blocking on a run play.
Yeah, that was silly.
I mean, come on, guys. Let's think about this for a minute again.
Inside the red zone, inside the 5-yard line.
What?
I know.
I don't know. Again, the only reason why there's something in the brains of people that just will not click off. The Brock Purdy thing, for example, he's Mr. Irrelevant, can't be the MVP. Dumbest thing I've ever heard. C.J. Stroud, rookie, can't be the MVP. Why can't he? Mm-hmm. Why? Give me a good reason why. If you say that because he's a rookie, then you just stop talking. It's a silly. You're telling me because he's a rookie, he's not eligible to win the award? How dumb is that?
They were awful offensively, too.
Oh,
Davis Mills.
From Davis Mills to him?
Go back and look at the quarterback play. Absolutely. This guy is a stud.
Imagine if Zach Wilson was having that type of year with the Jets.
Well, quickly, I think what they're going to do, though, is they're just going to give Tyreek Hill Offensive Player of the Year.
I think he's got to get it at this point.
He's minus $2. McCaffrey's the second choice.
Yeah,
I think that's what they'll do.
As strong as McCaffrey's year is, how do you deny Tyreek Hill? Unless if McCaffrey somehow scores like 23, 24 touchdowns and is just dominant down the last 5 games of the year, but Hill might have 2,000 yards and 20 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. He's not going to win the award.
Yep.
Visit VSiN.com to get current odds, listen for free, find showtimes, and download VSiN sports betting podcasts.